Emilia Pérez tells the story of a woman who is an underappreciated lawyer until she is given the opportunity to help out a cartel leader become a woman and fake her own death. Right off the bat, just hearing that, you can say, okay, this seems already pretty ambitious, and it's even more ambitious than I'm saying. This is also a musical and has many threads going throughout this film. This is absolutely a huge swing, and for some people, it has really worked. In fact, I believe it had the most nominations at the Golden Globes, so there are people who are very much fans of this movie. There are also people that aren't as crazy about it. It's currently sitting at a 3.0 on Letterboxd, which is a pretty low score for a film that many people feel is a lock to be nominated for an Oscar. People have made the Maestro comparisons, another movie that did not, a lot of people weren't crazy about, but did do pretty well at the Oscar nominations, although didn't win anything. I also, just for the record, was not a huge Maestro fan. In fact, I believe I have a YouTube video on this channel talking about why I wasn't really crazy about that one either. Also, before we get more into the review, just want to remind you that I do have a Letterboxd. If you want to follow me there, it's at Jackson Kruger, so you can check that out if you're interested. But yeah, let's get back to the review. But how about Emilia Pérez? What's there to say about this movie? We could start off with maybe the controversy around this movie. So I have heard people say that this doesn't do a great job at depicting either Mexico, which is the place where it takes place, or the trans experience, with it being having a major character being trans, that's Emilia Pérez, that is the character. And listen, if you want to hear people get into more detail about that stuff, you can. Like, I'm not the guy who can really get into detail about that stuff. Those aren't my lived experiences. I will say, just as someone who lives in Florida and often will interact with people who are Hispanic, the accents in this movie did ring kind of false to me, and which I've heard other people say this as well. People brought up Selena Gomez, who does not speak Spanish. She learned it for this role. The inflections on her voice did not fully work for me. Now, I've heard people say it online. It seemed like it really didn't work for them. I'm not a natural Spanish speaker, so I didn't fully get that. But even for me, someone who doesn't speak Spanish, it rung a little false for me as well. So that was one issue that I think is probably a valid one. But of course, your feelings on this stuff aside, it still is a movie. And how did it work as a movie? To me, so first it's a musical, and for a musical to work, kind of the first step is to have good music, right? And in my opinion, this one succeeded in that. I thought a lot of the music was really good. Again, I'm not sure how many of these songs I would listen to outside of this, but there's probably a couple I would actually. I thought maybe I'll check out the soundtrack on, when I'm listening to on a run or something and listen to some. I haven't actually done that yet, but I think the music hits, and I think that's probably why there are people who did find a connection to this, because at the end of the day, if you're going to do a musical and you like the music, that's gonna shape your feelings on the movie in a positive way, of course. However, I'm disappointed to say not much else worked about this movie for me. Despite its ambition, I really didn't think that this was a film that really delivered on most of what it was going for. And I think one of the big issues is you see that the Emilia Pérez character, we really don't get to learn very much about her, and it's kind of we see weird character shifts throughout the movie. So pretty early on, we see the cartel leader then identifying as a man, but saying they want to go through a sex change operation, and they get the help of Zoe Saldana. She's the lawyer, the underappreciated lawyer. They get her help to make that happen. I think this film does a bit of a disservice not letting us know more about Emilia Pérez pre-transition, because we do see that Emilia Pérez, when she goes through the rest of this movie and meets her family again, now pretending to be someone different, at least pretending to be someone different than who they are used to her being, right? Once they get into that situation, we're often told about the conflicted feelings that Emilia Pérez is having, but I don't feel those feelings because I knew very little about her prior to this faking her own death thing. So it didn't fully work for me from that perspective, and I think that there's a lot of big emotional moments that just kind of fell flat for me. Zoe Saldana, who many people think could win an Oscar for this performance. I think the performance was fine. It wasn't blowing me away personally, but I wasn't crazy about the movie. It's, that those might come hand in hand. I don't know. But regardless, I also didn't love, I thought I wasn't crazy about this character. I was interested in, I think she was the most interesting character early on, but the film kind of just forgets about her as we get to the halfway point. And she does become a background character. It's weird because she's, again, the Oscar thing, she's currently looking to be in the supporting category, which, she definitely is at the end of the movie, but is completely the lead in the beginning of the movie, so it's kind of an interesting thing there, which, hey, none of that is inherently wrong if it works. It just didn't work for me. And like I said, the Selena Gomez performance, it didn't really work for me. That's just my read on it. I think it ran kind of hollow throughout a large part of this. So at the end of the day, again, feeling for the characters is going to mean so much when you're watching a movie, and I just really didn't that much in this movie. There were moments when characters were doing things to, like Emilia Pérez's character at one point says, "Oh, well, let's help find the missing people in Mexico. Let's make that shift." And I'm like, okay, why are you doing this? What is the reason for you having this sudden change, going from a brutal cartel leader to now wanting to be a hero? I never really fully understood why that was happening. As a whole, Emilia Pérez is a movie that you have to admire for having some big swings. Unfortunately, most of those swings are swing and misses. So for me, I'm only giving this a 3 out of 10. It is not a film that really worked for me at all, outside of some of the musical numbers that I thought were, again, I enjoyed the music part of them. Even the numbers themselves, I wasn't always crazy about it. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Definitely my least favorite of the Oscar contenders as of right now, but, I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below. Did you disagree? Did you like this movie? Hey, that's cool. Movies are subjective. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.